Okay. It also looks less blurry or something. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I also open Vod and that doesn't work. Nothing. Okay, just don't look. Just calm down, Alexei. To myself. Yeah, I disabled YouTube, but now I turned it on just for you. um. Okay, so this should be default. This. Um. I don't think we need this anymore. We'll just say pool size. Um, ba 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 bum bum bum. And we need to do this to go to PI instance name. Where is PI also? I don't think it's used anywhere. Where is it? No. Whatever. What is the project? It's the same, just backend. Except I taking it a little bit easier and for myself and like doing stuff I'm curious about. So I'm just uh, building something that uses this driver for talking to Postgres, and so I can procrastinate doing actual work. But this is just for fun, so it's good. So now there is an issue. If I start a transaction and don't close it, it shows up on this connection. So well, when I return the connection, when the transaction is over, no one rolls it back. So I noticed I get this unexpected client connection closed with an open transaction, not closed, end of file. And I was like, I'm curious if if this is going not to work. And it doesn't. That's a huge bug. But I don't really know how to like work around that. Well, I know how to work around that, but what is a nice API to do it? But let's first say that we're going to say connection pool size is 0, 0. So this should just break completely everything. Perfect. Yeah, so it couldn't connect because everything is blah blah blah. Let's do that. Let's do the check. I'm not gonna check anything. I'm just gonna do this, right? How's your life going? Okay, now we get an error, and we are sure that it will be reproducible like this, right? Um, so before, this used to work. Because they would each get their own connection with their own transaction, and this table would be on different transactions, and they will not contradict with each other. And now they do. And now they do, and they say, annoyed. Why expect it to roll back? Is it implicit? No, well, I wrote all of this, so I don't expect. I didn't even think about that. It's not getting rolled back on deinit. Yeah, I'm used to, like, unless you commit it, it's rolled back, right? But of course, connection itself from the driver persists, and when someone else wants to run a query, the driver is like, oh, we already have a connection open here, just reuse this one. So I need to add a rollback, right? Okay, so the way to reproduce it, right, is this. I also don't know how to, like, generic description to prevent accidental leakage. Use error reflecting, but I cannot use reflecting because I'm not controlling this printing person who wrote this. Yeah, you need to catch an error yourself, but I'm not gonna start catching all of the errors in all of my tests myself. Like, it's very cool that they build this driver and working on it, but it's also very strange in a lot of aspects. I would like to write my own database, DB stuff, but I'm not ready for this yet. Well, I recently did like a decoding. So how this works, so they have like a bunch of packages, right? And on top of Neo, eventually. So at the very bottom, there's, what is this size? Is this for ants? At the very bottom, there is like Swift Neo for all the networking. And then they have Postgres Neo. That is just about talking to the database and like parsing the bytes into strings sometimes. And on top of it, there is something called Postgres Kit. And then on top of it, there is something called SQL Kit. And on top of it, there is something called something else. I don't know if there is something. And on top of it, there is Fluent ORM. And this is like Fluent Kit or something. And then so on each level, they add a bunch of stuff. So, okay, Neo, blah, blah, blah. Then you can use different drivers for SQL Server or like for SQLite maybe. And then here you can use different SQL Server kit or whatever. So you can talk different SQL because sometimes like Postgres doesn't really support everything that SQL Server, like syntax is a little bit different. And then this like kind of aggregates it, but it's a bit strange because like you need to expose all of this here, right? When you need to give like Postgres settings to Postgres driver, it still needs to be here, and there's so much stuff. So I just kind of started here, And I recently added something where you have a class, you can decode it from a row. I was very happy with myself. And it wasn't too difficult. Where is decoding? Oh, here. But it was mainly, I didn't know. Why do you do it yourself? Because I don't want any of this. I don't want to have a SQL server driver. I don't want to have like query writing, whatever. I don't want to have. I don't want to have all my classes be like, this is a column and this is blah blah blah. And also like looking at the quality of this, and I don't think like it's not very good. Like especially the middle. Like there was this error that I found where how they parse arrays. I don't know, SQLite is not the Postgres is not a problem. Like it works to some degree, but if you also look here, there is like this huge folder of just deprecated code already. But I get it. They started and then it didn't make sense how they structured it when starting. I get that happens a lot, right? But then it's like there is this bug where if you give a wrong host name to where your database is and you try to connect, it will just never return. It will just in a loop will keep connecting forever. Instead of like throwing, hey, I couldn't connect in 5 minutes or in 10 seconds or whatever. And it's been open for like 2 years. So I'm like, okay, I have to write my own thing where I'll just throw an error. I'll just throw an error when I cannot connect in a time, I don't know, somewhere here. Or you cannot like get a connection like this. You have to have a closure. Where is it? You can never like just get a connection, right? You have to like lease it and then you give a callback, and everything is a callback always forever. Like you cannot just say like, hey, give me a connection. So I had to write my own thing that gives you a connection, but half of the work, like I hate when people do that, when they're like, we only expose this public thing, but for ourselves to implement it, we have like 75 private things that are very nice to have. Like internally, they have a function that will give you a connection like this. So you don't have to like lease it and get it in a callback, but you can just do like this. Because with async await, it's very nice, right? And when it goes out of scope, it gets returned to back. And internally they have it, but they're like, no, it's private. And then like half of the things are private, and then everyone implements this. Like this file is like copied 7,500 times in everywhere. I don't know. Okay, but how do we fix this? So the problem is really here, right? That committing this is the price of async logic. Yeah, I don't know. You can do it, right? You can do like it's fine. Callbacks are fine, but sometimes you just want to say, hey, let me just give me just one thing and track it internally. You like know when it's dying, so you can reclaim it. Okay, so here we do begin. Okay, so this is, I guess, a problem that we only roll back on error, but we should actually do also roll back on finally. But we don't want to commit, right? We don't want to commit. So that's an issue, right? Well, we can just delete this. Okay. So this should roll back because it didn't explicitly commit, right? Okay. Can I do commit? Okay, I can do commit. I can do roll back. Like, I can say commit here, but this is not good. Yeah, you want to commit yourself, right? You don't want to be very magic. Because maybe you want to commit already here and then do something else or stuff like that. So then you give this, right? So you can do this. And here you can remember that something like this, right? Yeah, you're right. I'm still confused why it should roll back. I would expect to wait for user to final call to commit. Yes, no, that is true. What happens is that okay, I think maybe I understand your question better. So what happens is when you start the thing, right? You start, like, you connect it to your Postgres and you have like this connection, right? This is what we said. We said at minimum have at least one connection always available and at most one connection. Don't create more than one, right? And then we run this and then we run this. And this code is independent from this code, right? Like what happens inside here is recreation of, like, in real world someone runs this query and in somewhere else someone runs different query. So what I'm doing, so what the problem is that whoever runs first, right, they will take this connection and start like running stuff with it. And one of it is like begin because they start a transaction. And then they do like create temporary table. And then they're done. So they say, okay, we run all our queries, but because they called begin, this connection opened the transaction. But they didn't end the transaction because no one does it. So when second thing starts, when this thing starts, it gets a connection, but it's already had this begin applied. So it continues someone else's transaction. So the problem here is that when you in here return without committing, you should stop this transaction. You should roll back, right? Unless, like you say, you commit and then it will switch. Transaction is over, we just have a connection, right? And then you have a free connection, that kind of from scratch. But what we want to do is that when you begin a transaction, right, and you don't commit or don't roll back explicitly, it should roll back. It's somewhere automatically, so that when it's returned, it goes back to no open transaction. Otherwise, someone else will continue from your transaction and maybe commit it. So that's the idea. So you still commit or roll back manually, unless you don't do anything manually. Then it's like discarded. So committed manually. Okay. So try await, right? Command commit. Can I call this one, huh? Can you call a default implementation? Swift, can you call a default implementation from protocol? Self as that's funny. Commit, and this is rollback, right? I don't know if this will work. Not sure if this is a bug, feels more like a design decision. Yeah, no, so maybe I think I'm not explaining it well. Okay, so now let's see if it works and then see if we can explain it better. Okay, so but first, right, I want to check. I want to check if here it goes here. No. Yeah, because I did mutating, eh? You could write extension on top of connection to track its lifetime and can roll back manually. Yes. Okay, so this is fine, but I want to say okay, we do this. Yeah, give me a second. I go back to you. Then if should explicitly end transaction. Okay, something like this with a lot of typing, so names make sense. Should implicitly, right? It's instance member cannot be used. Why? On type. I don't get this. Oh, it's a static function. Okay, makes sense. Okay, should implicitly end transaction. You roll it back. So basically, if it wasn't committed or rolled back here, we do it, right? And then we do it finally also. There's no finally? Oh, there is defer, right? Defer. So we defer if, but defer could not be, I think. Annoying. Is it not annoying to anyone else? Swift, finally. It's not there. They're like, you're supposed to find, yeah. Should be defer. Yeah, but defer doesn't support async. And this supports async. And a little bit upsetting. But sure, why would we need to finally, if we can write it everywhere ourselves, right? If I'll just write it twice, it's fine. Um, oh. Ah, can we scroll to the left? Why is stuff broken so bad today? Okay, let's see. I think this should work. Why is it hanging? Where is it hanging? What is hanging? Does this work? It used to work. Okay, and this is hanging. Why is it hanging? Who knows? Oh. Annoying. Annoying. Okay. Oh man, this is so annoying. So what happened now? Where did everything go? Why is it using 90% CPU? What is going on? Is it is it is it because it's an infinite loop? It's a recursion. Yeah, okay, amazing. Um, because it's modern development when we use 300 megabytes just to render. Oh my god, so at my current job, I'm like, why is everything so slow? And then I look at the size of our database, like all the databases that we ever use in the company, and it's like not even 1 gigabyte. It's like 20 megabyte per whatever. And then I look at node modules, and node modules is like 4.6 gigabytes. Like, how, what is going on? What is it you possibly, like, how, like, what is even, like, what is even there? Like, what is even there? How? What, from what? But I really do not understand. Like, if I go here and I look at this whole WooDocs project, it's like 10 megabytes, and it's like whole history of all the changes and this image and like everything, and like this whole PDF, and I committed like a bunch of like images at whatever some point, and I just deleted it and I started again. Like, it's the whole thing is like 10 megabytes. How how much code is written? Like, what if I, what is it? CD. So if I do this and I install npm, right? It's like 14 megabytes. Like, what is possibly is there? Like, you cannot make 14 megabytes of text. Like, if you look at War and Peace, it's not even a 1 megabyte. Like, what is all of this? Like, okay, maybe this docs and whatever. Maybe, like, why do I need this thing? Why do I need an ini parser? I don't understand. What is this ini? An ini encoder decoder for Node. Why? Why is it here? Yandere Anos says, do you think that we should keep abreast of the latest developments in artificial intelligence? I don't know what abreast means. We should find out, is what I think. Abreast, if that's a word, I'm very happy. Up to date. I think we should ignore it completely and reconvene in a year. Until next Christmas, not this Christmas, next Christmas, ignore it completely. Don't waste your energy. Sell all the stocks or whatever if you have anything, and just don't look at it. That's what I decided for myself. War and Peace wasn't written with React. Yeah, it doesn't support portals, of course. That's why it's not very popular, right? I'm not a hater. I'm ignoring your comment. According to my strategy. No, my favorite part about AI. Oh, I deleted everything. Oh, this is very nice. I was on Microsoft websites all the time. That was very good. What else do I have? This is very nice. Like was very good. I think I showed you this already. Showing me this. Your feelings are your own responsibility. You ask the question. Yeah, they only have how many trillions? Okay, but we found an issue, right? So this just calls itself forever. How do you call? So what I want to do, I want to call this. I want to call this implementation. How to call default implementation from protocol Swift. Let's ask AI, right? What is a good AI? AI. I'll just add AI. No, it doesn't work like that. I don't know if you're still looking, but the way to do it is to remove function from the protocol definition, cast your object to foo, and then call the method on it. You can't call default. Kinda makes sense, right? Are you 100%, million percent sure? But I think it makes sense. I kind of get a vibe of how it compiles. No. Yeah, so this makes sense that you're casting the foo and cast to foo and you'll get the default function. So what happens is that this extension, because this is an, okay, where is the protocol? Comment this out or remove it. Oh, no, this is not what I want because, no. They're just adding a function to everything that has this protocol, I guess, but it's not a protocol requirement. No, it's too confusing. Okay, let's not do it. Let's just write. It's not really bad if I just do commit. I'll just type it twice. It's fine, man. Right? Okay, let's run. Yeah, it's not default, it's an extension. Yeah, but the difference is, so what I have is that this protocol has a requirement that there should be these functions, right? And then I have a default implementation for some of them, right? So if you, in whoever conforms to this protocol, don't implement begin, then this would run. However, it's different from what they're doing. This protocol has no requirements. They just added a function to the protocol. So it's like I can extend It's exactly the same how I extended like date on whatever, right? I was like, hey, now Boolean has XOR and whatever. This is actually not correct. This is not correct. This random moment where you find like a super obvious bug. Boolean test. Boolean. What did we say? We said true, false, and false equal false, right? Basic extensions Boolean. Equality, please. Okay. False, true is true. True, false is true. Oh my god. Okay, please work. It doesn't work. Let's write NAND and or implement CPU around it. Yeah, you know the channel? It's called Ben Ether? No. No, Ben Ether is also a good channel where he makes a breadboard computer. Sebastian League is called. Something like that. Yeah. So he has a playlist. This one. This one? Digital Logic. Oh, community creations. This is community creations. What's the book name? There is a playlist where he builds a simulator of like from the very basic stuff. Oh yeah, this one, I think. Yeah. I'm just reading a book, but how do it know? How do it know? How does it know? Is it the name of a book? But how does it know? Yeah. Well, it doesn't is the answer. It's all a mystery. It's all not a mystery, but how do it know? Do not dash. How do it know? What? I'm confused. But how do it? No? Why is it do it and not does? I thought you like got after corrected. Hey, it was a great sample. Oh my god, I love this sample. Amazing. Look at it. It's such a good sample. Wow, I love it. Love reading that sample. Oh man. Okay, loading. Okay, now we got like a 0.3 second. So this is like what the richest, one of the richest companies in the world, and they cannot show you. Yeah, okay. Oh. Ah. Amazon market cap. What? They only have, they don't even have 3 trillions. Like, come on now. they're not very rich compared to others, right? Like, it can't. Here, man. True is not. Hey, we have our own broken computers. Why are we being upset when we cannot even make an XOR that works? I always type boolean. I do not type bool ever. And that is a problem. Okay, so it should be left or right and not. Okay, now it should work. Yeah, you build your own computer. But the problem is that when you start with voltage, right? It's just like 0 and 1 is not what the happenings in the world are, I guess. There is not no voltage or all voltage. There is like a threshold and no, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know anything about it. Why am I talking about it as though I know something? Okay, it worked. Look at this. It rolled back. Right? How do we make sure transactions, let's say, transactions are not left open when no explicit commit or rollback was issued, right? And we put this here. Postgres and then the same one like this. Hello? What is the error? If they are temp table, when are they deleted? Temporary tables are deleted when you create a transaction, when that transaction ends. If you don't create a transaction, when you close a connection. Okay, what I wanted to check, so they are live per single transaction only. A little bit tricky in Postgres, trickier. So if you open a transaction with begin and then create a table, then it will live as long as that transaction lives. So if you commit a transaction or roll back a transaction, your table is deleted because it was temporary. If you do not open a transaction and just create a table on a connection, it will live until that connection closes. And then it will be deleted. And others can see it. I think. So it's kind of because if you just run like select one, that's also in transaction, right? It's kind of like implicit transaction around it. Um. Um. You cannot do stuff without transactions. It's getting a little bit like you don't have to write begin and then your query, right? So I can just write like, well, it's not really. So here, so what happens is that I open a connection here, right? So I have like a pool of connections because it takes time to open a connection and start talking to the database. And then inside of this, right, inside of this on call, I do begin first. And inside of that begin is just literally like begin and SQL. It's just nothing special about it. But I also don't have to do it, right? So basically what I'm doing, I'm writing this SQL. Begin, create temp table, and then roll back automatic, right? But I also can just start like select one, whatever. So even though there is no explicit transaction, it is though as it was like this. Like Postgres, if you just ask Postgres to run this query, it will be the same as running it like this internally for the purposes of like isolation and stuff. But we want to test what? What do we want to test? Test some BS. I don't know. I don't want to test anything. I'll just test it later. I just want to commit this for now. And go walk the dog quickly. Oh my god, this is such a huge bug. Oh. Bop, 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 bop. Do, 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 do. Okay. That's nice. Why is this? Oh, it's a test. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna take a look at it in a sec. So instead of having it 164 here, it is now 164 here. Okay, that's good. Ba, 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 bum. Okay, so the part commit rollback begin. So this begin just does so begin without arguments just defaults to read committed. I don't know why this is needed. Now, to commit, we just want to know that someone called the commit. Rollback, we just want to know that someone called the rollback. Okay. Okay, let's do tests. No, this one's. There's also a bug in Swift in a new version where like it crashes. Oh, why is everything broken? Also, I wish it compiled like at normal speed and not super long. Why is this so long and why is Xcode so much better? I don't get it. So everything passes and then there is like an exception that only happens in release. Annoying. What failed? Nothing. Nothing failed, but it is marked as failed. Love it. Love it. Why do I click clear test results and nothing gets cleared? I don't know. Oh, now it's completely different order, by the way. Okay, I think it's time to stop for a bit. Um why did this happen? I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know how Xcode is so bad. Like, why is it so bad? Why do we have liquid glass? Like, what is this? What is this? I don't understand it. And it just happens every like 3 minutes. Something is broken. Like, people who work with this, right? They work with this every day. Cannot believe there is not a single person somewhere high in the Apple who's like, what the fuck? And then I click on it and it works. And then I don't get, like, I again, I just clicked like play and like what is. Yeah, it has AI. Like, why is Apple doing AI? No one wants AI. I don't want any changes, just quit. But there is not anything good, right? There is nothing you can use except of Xcode. No, maybe. Like, what's it called? JetBrains opcode or something, right? Like, that's not a thing anymore. And they're like, try our VS Code. No. Why? Why do I want to try your VS Code? I want this. Support Swift as part of the Kotlin multi-platform project workflow, targeting Android, iOS, and desktop. So it's like, we also can build garbage here. Did you like our products? How about this garbage that we made? It has AI. I don't get it. Small company, right? Not public. Why are you so greedy? Maybe I would also be greedy, right? I don't know. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 Move common things. Okay. Same as GitHub, also, like, let's open a file. Let's click here. Let's click here. Let's click here. Wow, now it works. Normally it just reloads the page and goes to the first line, no matter what you click. Like, it used to be working. Now, like, nothing works on this side. Here. Like you click somewhere, it just reloads the page and goes to a first. Maybe they fixed it. I don't know. I heard that like everyone quit and stuff. Like this is only doing like dependency upgrades. Like now we have Postgres 18 and CI. Oh my god, have you ever used GitHub Actions? This is just the worst thing in the world. It just makes no sense what's happening. Build docs, 3 minutes. Install latest Swift. Download files. Build documentation. Okay, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'll be back later probably. Hey, thanks for joining. Nice to see you again, Alex. Okay, I see